Hello, everybody. This is our question and answer call. And one of the most common questions that I get, particularly from new people, is a really, really important question to address. And so I want to really put this out there so that you don't panic that you're screwing up your life. Um, One of the things that we do in tapping is we start by addressing the negative. It sounds negative, but really what it is, it's the truth of how we're feeling. And I know there's so much resistance to this, and I experienced it myself. When I discovered tapping, the very first thing that I listened to was like, oh, they're being negative. Like, turn it off. I'm not listening to this. I have enough time difficulty with negativity that I don't need to be accentuating the negative. And so I turned tapping off for 2 years um, until I finally was able to come around and try it again and had such a profound experience. And the reason that we talk about the negative is because, well, there's several reasons. We have about 800,000 thoughts a day, and 80 to 90% of those are negative. And so by addressing the negative, we actually quiet down those negative thoughts. And there's a couple of reasons we do this, and I'm going to share the most important one last. But one of the reasons is it validates our own experience. We have had different challenges in our lives, and people are so quick to say, "Oh, just be positive, just get over it, just let it go." And honestly, we're telling ourselves that. We are great at gaslighting ourselves and saying, "Oh, Cammie, why are you so hung up on this still after all this time? Why are you letting that bother you?" And so by stating, this thing really bothers me. What that person said really bothers me. We are validating our own experience, our own selves, and giving ourselves the kindness that we don't get from others because others haven't lived our experience. But the most important reason that we state the negative is I'm going to use an analogy that Carol Look uses, and it's just awesome. I can use the scientific metaphor, but I think this or the scientific explanation, but I think this other explanation is maybe a little bit clearer for those of you who don't geek out over the science like I do. Um, if you have a document on your computer, some sort of, document that you want to edit, some sort of typewritten document, um, you cannot edit that document until you open it. And tapping is the same way. We have to bring up what's really bothering us so that we can then change how um, we can change the programming. We were programmed at childhood. If you gave a speech in school or if somebody made fun of you for standing up and saying something in school, you learned it's not safe to stand out. If you were told you had to eat all of your food on your plate when you were a little kid, it is not safe to leave food on your plate because mom and dad will get mad at you. I'll get in trouble. I won't get dessert. And so we have this programming. And for better or worse, I mean, we want to give our parents the benefit of the doubt that they were doing the best that they could, or our caregivers, our teachers, whoever it was that, programmed us unintentionally. And some of there is malicious harm. Like, I'm not going to deny that. That's why it's important to validate your own experience. But for the most part, our parents were doing the best that they could with the information that they had. And so by opening that Word document, by getting ourselves triggered by stating the negative, then we actually can use the tapping to send an electrical signal to our brain to calm down our nervous system. I hope that makes sense. You have to access the document on your computer before you can edit it. And tapping is the same way. You have to bring up what is bothering you so that you can then calm it down. They have done lots and lots of research like, oh, I'm fine, everything's fine, I'm just going to let it go, I'm just going to forgive him. It doesn't work. It doesn't work to solve the problem. So you have to acknowledge what you are really upset about. And we can start small. Like, I'm just upset. I'm just upset. I'm just upset. When you're in the calls with me, I'm going to be a little bit more direct, like, how dare they? Like, how? And be a little bit more triggering. And I would never trigger you on purpose if we didn't have tapping. I would never trigger your anxiety. I would never trigger your cortisol. I would never trigger this upset in your body if I did not have a tool like tapping to help calm it down. And so if you are not going to do the tapping, I don't actually want you to watch the recordings. I had a group member once who was so busy writing down all of my words that they weren't doing the tapping. And that just brings up the cortisol, brings up the inflammation, brings up the pain without doing anything to lower it down. And so that is why we talk about the negative when it's really just the truth. And so I really hope that if you find yourself talking negatively about yourself, talking negatively about somebody else, being bothered by somebody, that that's exactly what you need to tap on. I'm really upset that they said that. I feel really sick to my stomach. Whatever is coming up for you, because it starts by acknowledging how we really feel. What you resist persists. And so if you resist feeling your emotions, then you're not going to be able to get rid of them. You're not going to be able to clear them. So that is my first question that I wanted to answer. And there will be more Q&A. And if you guys do have questions, please submit them to me, and I'm happy to make video recordings so that I could put them in our Q&A section on the webpage. Thank you.